Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, the IIT Encoder. So in this video, we will be discussing my JEE story. So basically the 2 years, 11th and 12th, and how I prepared for JEE. Okay, so as you all know that JEE is like a very difficult exam. It's one of the most difficult exams in India or abroad. And like IIT is a very good institute and everyone wants to come here. So I will start with that in the 10th standard. I didn't even knew about how to prepare for it. Okay, I just knew that it was very difficult to prepare. So then came, so like I just gave my 10th boards as school exams and that was all. I didn't prepare for JEE anything. I just studied on my own. And in the 11th standard, my JEE preparation actually started. Okay, so it's like you can just prepare for 2 years and still crack JEE. It's not like you need to prepare from sixth standard or fifth standard as people do sometimes. It's about the dedication, not about the time you spend, and it's about the logical aptitude rather than the number of questions you solve. So what happened is in the 11th standard, I just I went to PACE, which is in Chembur. So it's a pretty good institute, and it helped me crack JEE. So in that we first I studied with all the other students the basics and stuff, and instead of taking integrated coaching as people had this trend, I went to school DPS and side by side learned on my own. So I will tell you what you can do to crack JEE. So the best point was you need to study on your own. Like people can make you study various things and all, but the only thing is the only benefit I received was clearing the doubts from others. Other things I need to study on my own and solve problems and develop my logical aptitude. Of course, you can learn concepts from others and tricks and tips, but only when you solve questions on your own and study on your own, that's when you actually learn things. And that's what required for clearing JEE. So 11th was a pretty chill, like it wasn't actually so chill because like I went to school in the morning, then pace and then self-study. But yeah, so then in the 12th, most of the question gets over by the first half or so. So if you are really determined on cracking JEE, you need to solve a lot of papers. Okay, like it is the key to crack JEE. Just solve as many papers as you can. So for me, I solved our institute's paper, Fiji, Pace, Allen, every institute's paper I solved, and then I even solved previous JEE papers, all I could get my hands on. And you really need to solve every paper you can get your hands on, be it difficult or easy. Yeah, there is this book called Irodo, okay? It's really tough for like physics standard and it's really above JEE standard. But I had a deep interest in physics, so I solved that too. And if you are interested in physics, even if you have cracked JEE or you have not or you're preparing for it, I suggest you just look at it and solve a few problems. Your mind would get interested in physics a lot. It's like the great book. It's like a very great book. It's very small, but it has like very interesting problems. So this was like the 12th standard is going on, and there are exams almost like not official exams, but my papers every day. Okay, one thing more. Then there are board exams in 12th, right? Most people neglect them, and some people like neglect boards, and then they get less than 75% and all. So don't neglect boards because NCRT is also like okayish for building concepts, and you know that JEE main is based on it. So like I studied NCRT also thrice, I guess, because it benefited in JEE mains and they asked theoretical questions on that everyday life and all. So you can't neglect NCRT because just because you're studying higher level maths and physics, because basically the concepts are important. If you don't know concepts, how can you do the other things? So this was how I prepared for JEE. But it isn't like if you're preparing for JEE and you have taken engineering, you have lost your 2 years of fun. I watched all the movies and everything in the 11th and 12th, and you should do the same. You should go out to play because it really refreshes your mind enough so that you can actually like dedicate your other time on studying. Because if you are not refreshed and just studying, your mind will become eventually dull, and you can't do this for 2 years. Okay, so keep a time aside for playing and stuff, and the rest time you can dedicate to studies. But you really need to balance your time and learn how you can balance your time, because okay, this was how you could study. So now I will tell you about the books I used. So there is a list of the books I used. I put them on my Quora. Put the description in I will put the link in the description so that you can go through my book list. These books are sufficient for cracking JEE. You don't need any other book other than this. And a few books in or out, like you can remove from this list. They are like just just they are just for safe side. The next thing is the temperament. Okay, JEE is not about all testing your knowledge. It's also about testing your temperament, how you react to the question paper. And suppose the first question only you don't know anything, so you don't know how you should even approach the first question. That should not baffle your confidence, or like that should not just throw you away from the examination hall. You should actually leave that question, dedicate your time to other questions, solve them, and later come back to the first question and give a fight to it. Because sometimes even the trickiest questions and the most difficult question can be cracked very easily because they have a small trick to crack. So if you like maintain your cool and temperament, then you will be little marks higher than what you would have expected. And if you like just get frustrated or get sad or anything in that moment, then you will get quite less than what you had expected. Okay, because see, I gave the paper in 2019, and that paper was the most difficult paper like I saw. Okay, so I feel that even if that was the most difficult paper, it was most difficult for all. So if my score is less, the score of all people would be less, and so my rank wouldn't go down. That is how you maintain your cool. So of course I panicked a bit because the physics was very difficult, and for me the physics is the strongest subject. But still, you really need to maintain this goal. I'm emphasizing on this fact. The next thing is, don't get blown away in YouTube and stuff while you study for JEE, because once you start a video, you just keep on watching that channel's video if they are, or even for that matter, web series. You start one episode and you just get going on and on. So avoid doing that during the preparation. And the thing is, don't neglect a subject. Suppose you're strong in physics and maths, don't like. I neglected chemistry for a small amount of time, and later I had to do a little catching up because like chemistry is not very enthusiastic to me. But what happens in the end is like chemistry got me the highest score, I guess, in JEE. So it you can't just neglect a subject because you don't like it. You need to have a grasp on all the three subjects if you want to actually crack JEE. So I did those, and then at the time of the next thing is, if you crack JEE, then you also need to select the correct college. You just can't select it for status symbol like this is a better college, you need to select the better stream because that's what your interest is, and your interest matters a lot. Okay, like you need to be driven by your interest and not by your any other thing, because that is how you will receive excellence. So this was just a small story, and I neglected a few parts here and there to give you the just the important points. I hope you would take the few important points from them. And if you have doubts about how I went through this, how my college is currently, how how I went into coding, and how and what am I doing now, I will be having a live stream soon in which I will be sharing how my college is, how my campus is, how I went into coding and other stuff. So please stay tuned and do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.